Alright, just getting everything. Just getting it all set up. Ready to roll? Alright, let's move on to the next page. Oh, I forgot to load up something here. There we go. Good morning, good morning. Let's see. That glue is on the floor, of course. Alright, let's go find the next one here. There we go. Now I can see my screen. I'll go with these ones. You know, why not mine Blade Runner, right? So. Let's see. Alright, there we go. How quick can we do these? I have a meeting at 9:30 and it's 8 o'clock, right? So, but the first one here is going to be pretty simple. It's just the owl. Actually, it's kind of placed right about here. Good morning, everybody. Make a zoom in there since I know where I'm working. Good morning, good morning. Got ourselves a little owl here. Alright, we got ourselves an owl. Alright. I'll try it out with a rigger here. I've had this brush for like 20 years and rarely ever used it. So we're going to give it a go. It is a sable It's kind of nice to use. I was playing around with it the other day with the see. Yeah, I like this brush. I haven't really used it much before. There we go. Nice little owl this morning. from Blade Runner. So let's get the outline on there. We'll try this guy out with the virtual ruler. All right, there we go. Come on, draw. All right, and some white paint. There we go. All right. Cooler. Next one. Ah, stuck. Alright, who's next here? Good morning. So that'd be 11. Oh, look who's there. Someone's showing up for class finally. Let's see. Up here. window there. Before you go to work, do you have a job? Not a fun one. Oh, that's no good. Are you applying for good ones? I always say with the job thing, if it's not an art job, try and do something that doesn't require a lot. So you can spend that time, working on your portfolio. That reminds me, I need to. Speaking of jobs, that reminds me, I got to sign my contract for ECU. I see. Well, I'm keeping pretty busy, so. But it's nice having your summers off, technically speaking. It's not like I'm sitting around, sipping mojitos or something. Actually, the funny part about it is at a certain point, the new semester starts to look like you're sitting on a train track looking at a train coming at you down the road. It's like, oh, here it comes. It's not quite that bad, but yeah. Just because it's such a big change in your schedule for the next 9 months or so, which is kind of funny. Yeah, but I decided I'm going to do 100 film studies, so usually about 2 a day. So to take, already done. This needs to be 12, so that leaves me 88. This, you don't know, can't tell from this. It failed at the box office, has a huge cult following, and has a director's cut because there was a lot of studio interference when it was released. They did a sequel recently with what's his face, Gosling, and that's Harrison Ford washing his hair in the same. Has a famous soliloquy in the rain. Well, the owl's only in a small part of the movie, and Harrison Ford says to the lady, he says, "Oh, is it real?" And she says, "Of course it's not." Yeah, Blade Runner. Um, Blade Runner. I also like the fact that the guy he's the Asian guy, he's speaking Cantonese in the movie. So I like that. Which one? The new one or the old one? I should listen to more movie soundtracks. I haven't used this brush much before. The new one, yeah, that's what's his face does all the Moody soundtracks. So I think he's been working with Villeneuve for a while. The other one's more classic. I think it's got like the '80s synth stuff going on in it. Yeah, the original one, the studio, they were confused by the movie, and so they insisted on a voiceover. So Harrison Ford had to come in and do this voiceover. He sounds like he's kind of dead inside the whole time he's doing it because he didn't want to do it. And then they were able to do a director's cut much later on because the movie flopped like terribly. Actually, so did 2049. Yeah, Hans Zimmer. Yeah, both movies actually flopped. Neither of them did very well in terms of box office, which is kind of interesting. But uh, I like them both, but so yeah. So there, I don't think there'll be any more. I mean, there might. You know, I think it's one of those IPs where like, well, if we just kind of try one more time, maybe it'll work. And maybe, I think with the success of that cyberpunk cartoon, Edge Runners or something, which I thought was okay. I didn't think it was great, but there were some weird moments in the animation too, where like there'd be like just people like they're like half a step going down a stair, a set of stairs, and like they're frozen in air because they didn't want to animate everything in the background. Didn't want to spend the money there. I was like, well, then don't put a guy, stepping down a stair, as part of your background. You want to show more kind of static. But people liked it. I mean, it was popular when it came out, so I think it's all half-hour episodes, so it's not like a major commitment. I just finished watching Andor, which I hadn't seen yet, and then I watched Rogue One right after I finished, and the weaknesses in Rogue One really show up really strongly after watching Andor, just in terms of storytelling and cinematography and all these other kind of important things. It's like, oh, there's a much like it's probably the best of the Disney Star Wars films, but it's got a lot of weaknesses in it. It's like, why does this character care that much about helping rebellion who killed her father and abandoned her? Oh, it's good. Um, I hadn't had Disney in a while. Then I found this deal where you can get HBO, Hulu, and Disney for $30 a month with no commercials, and I think it's like 17 or 18 if you do commercials. So it's a pretty good combo deal thing. So I was like, oh, I'll do that. It's not that much I actually want to see on Disney, but Hulu has a bunch of stuff. Um, all right, let's put some. Let me number and date these real quick. So, yeah, I always get confused by like I go to my sister's house and they don't do the commercial free version of anything, and I'm just like, uh, it's just like it's so painful for me to watch commercials in the middle of a show now. It's like the other subscription I really recommend is the YouTube one, because obviously you get no commercials, but you can also download and listen to the audio of things on your phone while you're walking around. So like you do kind of a podcast mode of things with the screen off, which you can't do with the paid one. And then let's see, where's my little brush? Oh, there you are. And then you also get their music app. The same kind of deal. So it's like you've got Spotify and YouTube and all that all in one, and it's like 16 a month or something like that. So if you watch enough YouTube, getting rid of the commercials is a big deal for that one. Well, yeah, apparently also the creators that you watch, like they get more revenue off of watches if you're paying for it. So if you're subscribed to, not just like say subscribe to their channel, but you're subscribed to YouTube, they actually get paid more than they do for the ads, because the ad revenue varies a lot. So, there's that kind of bonus for people that are on it. So that's another kind of little nice thing about it. It's like a guaranteed amount or something like that. So. Oh yeah, the traditional leg is where it's at to a certain degree, right? There's the whole benefit of having an original, right? To either sell or show. Digital's great. Always be part of what I do, but just something to be said for. I hate the word traditional when I'm talking about the media because I think it's just kind of limits for the way people think about it. I prefer analog these days, but uh, there's something about it that's always awesome. And, dry brush there. And you see the outline and date it. I have a partner, I guess, meeting in a few minutes. Well, not a few minutes, in like an hour or so. I've got other things I need to do this morning. Yeah, well, I mean, I can see doing the portfolio stuff all digital, unless you're like looking to like do comics or something like that. I picked up an interesting tool that I can use for perspective. I saw Daniel Warren Johnson using it, and I'm like, oh, I got to get one. They're expensive though. But one of these. It's an equal space divider, so you can pull it out, and it will evenly proportion things. So what you can do with it is basically you can set it up so you put the tongs on one side of a perspective grid. Like say you say I want it to be this narrow when it gets here, and you can do the same number over here but wider. And so you can say, oh, this is how you line up the perspective grid. And you can kind of do it back and forth. And so, but it was like $45 for this little thing. It's used for making clothing and that. So if you want to evenly space some buttons or stitches or something, especially like in leather, you can use this to put that into the leather, like stab it, mark it, and then put holes in for stitches and buttons and other things. But equal space divider. Because when I was in school, it was this transitionary period between like digital and traditional. So most of my professors were all traditional, but the digital was coming in pretty fast. Like people were using Corel Painter and some Photoshop painting and photo bashing was happening. And so they didn't really know that much about it, but they didn't have like a comics-oriented thing either with the program. So they didn't have stuff like that or deal with drafting very much. It was more like print media illustration for like magazines or book covers or children's books. Let's see, fill in some of these gaps here. All right, put the date on there, and then call that a morning study. Today's the 14th. This is Blade Runner. Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming in, and catch you all later.